Today I'm going to tell you the importance of getting an education. Working in a school, in an elementary school nowadays, I see every day that most kids, most of the time, just think that going to school is a task that their parents force them to do and they really don't want to be there. Nowadays, education is mainly just testing based. However, even though it might be a struggle to get an education for some certain students, they don't realize that getting an education is actually very important to your lifelong goals or your lifelong careers. Getting an education is very important because if you don't have an education, you're not going to be able to know the things that you need to know for even just everyday things. Like if you didn't know how to drive a car, you would probably want to be educated on how to do it. Or if you didn't know how to talk, it would be important to get an education to know how to speak to a person. And beyond that, there are other things such as science, math, reading, and writing. But what these students nowadays don't realize is that those four essential things are things that you use in your everyday lives, even if you don't realize it. So if you don't get an education such as elementary, middle, high school, if you don't get those three essential ones, most of the time you're not probably going to be very successful. It doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't going to be successful, but a lot of times most jobs or careers here in Nebraska or in other places require a high school education or higher. If you only have a high school education, it is still good to have that education to hire yourself in a job, such as myself, that I am working on a degree. However, I am still a para at an elementary school. To me, that is a very important job because I go through my everyday helping students understand the quality of their education and why it is important for when they further down in their lives, when they want to be a teacher or a doctor or whatever else they want to be. They have to know that you have to have an education to do those things. Education is also very important for your careers because it will help you succeed further and further as you grow. When you learn, you also grow as a person, even if you're not smart or intellectual or intelligent, as everybody says. Everybody is smart in their own things. However, you can be common sense smart and know how to do any normal everyday activity, but if you don't have the education, you might not be able to do those simple tasks that you have learned. Learning math, science, and reading is just as simple as learning how to change a tire or cook food. It all is the same thing. And even for like cooking food, you still have to know math because you have to know what's in a cup or how many ounces are in a cup, such things like that. Same with the science of, let's say, changing a tire. You have to know that if you tighten it, things will stay on, but if you loosen it, it's probably going to fall off. And that's all science. So kids nowadays just need to understand that even if school is boring or if they don't want to be there, if their parents just force them to go, it is really important to get an education. Otherwise, you probably aren't going to get any big career that you're wanting to do. Having an education is important because everybody should probably have one. You can be fine without it, but most of the time, you're going to do a lot better in life if you have even just a high school education. You don't have to go to college if you don't want to. I went through a time where I thought I didn't want to go to college, but it's better. It benefits you a little more to go to college. It just extends your education rather than just cutting it off at high school, which there's nothing wrong with that. But for some people, it works better to go to college. Some people, their jobs don't require it, so they don't go. Education is important in every state, city, country that you go to, and everybody should have an education.